Ladies and gentlemen, of course, anything good that happens or any money raised by Trump or Republicans for reforms. So there's one euphemism, voter suppression, and there's another euphemism that talks about integrity. What's taking place in Georgia is, in many cases, read the actual laws that were passed and signed by the governor. I thought that the state of, it's interesting, when the state of Georgia is pressured by Trump, oh my God, the poor Republicans there, look at the despot and authoritarian in Trump. But when the same state of Georgia and the same Republicans who oppose Trump, when they, God forbid, heaven forbid, decide to do or enact laws that they deem necessary to keep in the integrity of the outcome of our pristine democracy intact, oh my God, it's suppression, and we need Major League Baseball and other corporations to, we need them to speak out as an example of activism. Well, here you have this article written, yet again in astonishment, that $50 million was raised by Trump-inspired claims corporations gave over $50 million to voting restriction backers. How come they don't use the word integrity? So, you see, this is the Associated Press. They're not even supposed to. There's nothing so much that restricts any voting. The laws themselves simply define protocol. That's all. They define protocol of who collects, the people. I don't want to get into it because you don't know what you can talk about and what you can't talk about, but read the actual voting laws. Before, you had people not working for the state of Georgia, part of the outcome. Now you have people who are liable and sign, not only they have to declare the same type of, they sign not a confidentiality, but it's kind of like a, that they are held liable if something goes wrong when they collect the you-know-what boxes, the votes within the you-know-what boxes. And, read the, look, again, I don't know what I can talk about, what I can't talk about. Read the actual, there were people that nobody, we had no clue who hired. Just read the actual laws, that the statutes that were passed. They just define protocol. It's 9 to 5. You have still early voting 2 weeks prior to the election. These restrictions are simply defining and creating an actual protocol, because what took place was very, quick pandemic-related responses. Reactions to enabling everyone to vote because the belief was it was not safe to do so in person. Even though Democrats had 4 primaries during the height of the pandemic. So they loosened restrictions, and according to Brian Kemp, New York has just as many restrictions. In fact, when it was Bernie Sanders in 2016, you had over 100,000 people in Brooklyn taking, their votes weren't counted. You had people who were forced to vote in line in Wisconsin in the rain, and they didn't postpone the election to just make it. How come Democrats don't make their primaries all mail-in? So, we can go ahead and you have to be a Democrat. Isn't that interesting? For the Democratic primary, you have to be a Democrat. Why? Why would you ensure that? Why can't anyone vote? Why can't anyone vote? You're restricting the process. Why are there so many voter restrictions for Democrats? Then you had Debbie Wasserman Schultz being forced to resign, but you had pandemic-inspired protocol that wasn't thought out, that was a reaction to the hysteria and the zeitgeist of the moment. We won't have that 4 years from now. God willing, we won't have that. But people who want greater integrity to ensure that, I mean, you had articles in Slate, and forget about President Trump and any baseless claims without any direct evidence. You had articles in Slate, the New York Times, Palm Beach Post, other publications saying, hey, you know what? You got to make sure that the people who collect votes are either work for the state or have some liability. So they have to, swear an oath to the Constitution. I forgot exactly how it's phrased, but to the state constitution, something like that, which is what, civil servants have to do. If you read the actual laws, they're not these draconian Jim Eagle, which is typical Biden-esque lame thing to say. They're not these, unconstitutional restrictions. You can read them, and in a court of law, see, I don't, if corporations want to engage in activism, they should wait until a court of law says that these reforms were unconstitutional. But see, when Trump pressures Raffensperger or Kemp, oh my God, the Republicans are noble and they're standing up to a tyrant and orange menace. But when Raffensperger and Kemp decide, hey, you know what, or the Republicans in Georgia, hey, you know what, we're gonna tighten up these laws. They're not necessarily restrictions. They're going to add integrity to the process. Oh my God, you don't need that. Oh my God, you're hurting a specific group. Well, non-white voters voted more so in favor of Trump. Go look at the stats. Look at the numbers. You cannot say that Republicans have this nefarious intent when it was people that looked like Raffensperger and Jeff Sessions. The complexion of those people who voted for Biden by 6 points compared to 2016, and non-white voters voted for Trump more. So wait until the court of law. But here, when executives from Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines spoke out against Georgia's new voting law as unduly restrictive last week, that's an opinion. That's not even a legal ruling. That's an opinion. Everyone can have. You know what they say about opinions. Anyone can have an opinion. But here, it seemed to signal a new activism springing from corporate America. Look at that. The way the Associated Press is not supposed to pick a side. But now, if you don't have every single possible element of every aspect of society, if every single, pillar of society doesn't prop up the Democratic Party, they wilt. Because, again, there's no, the numbers don't prove the accusations. Furthermore, if you read the actual laws, which I don't really want to talk about right now, but read the actual law. It's not draconian. It just highlights protocol, defines work. Even Biden got 4 Pinocchios for saying it harms working people. But here on the Washington Post, but nobody cares. But if leaders of the nation's most prominent companies are going to reject lawmakers who support restrictive voting measures, again, that's restrictive voting measures. That is my God, that's a biased, opinionated, subjective way of looking at it. This was never journalism in years past. Never. That was never journalism in years past. They will have to abruptly reverse course. State legislatures across the country have pushed for new voting restrictions and also seized on former President Trump's baseless claims. They've reaped more than $50 million in corporate donations in recent years. Oh my God. Want to hear a Politico? Democrats shatter fundraising record ahead of Georgia Senate runoffs. 4 candidates combined to raise more than $340 million. Where was the report? John Ossoff, Raphael Warnock shattered fundraising records by hauling in more than $100 million in each in the past 2 months. Each in the past 2 months. They're worried about $50 million. Bernie Sanders with $200 million, and Trump offered refunds. So yeah, it was wrong what they did with the recurring payments, but at least they didn't have at least the Republican chairman the chairman of the Republican Party, or the RNC, didn't resign in disgrace like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I mean, Democrats don't have a leg to stand on, my God almighty. All of Hollywood, all social media algorithms, Major League Baseball now, corporations. I mean, they're shattering fundraising records, and this is a big problem, the $50 million that was raised by Trump. Oh my God, from corporations that, God forbid, happened to side with Trump. More than 120 companies detailed in a report previously said they would rethink their donations to members of Congress. What is this? Like, you cannot even have a vantage point that backs Republicans. You have to rethink acting on the same falsehoods that, how much money did they rake in from Trump Russia? How much money did they make from lying about President Trump saying the 1930s and 1940s Germans were fine people? He never said that. The C-SPAN quote, see, in this world, you cannot even do like 2 seconds of research. That was a lie perpetrated by journalists that were just plain lying. Patently false. He never stated that. In fact, he stated those people should be condemned. I'm not talking about those people. And he used the word condemnation and condemned 3 different times within the C-SPAN quote. Go to C-SPAN. You can listen to him say that on that fateful day. It was the day after they marched, and it was a tragedy with the woman who was murdered. But he never said that. How much money have Democrats, let's say like Trump made baseless claims, how much money did Democrats make from baseless claims? And you still had Stacey Abrams saying she won from Brian Kemp from just in 2018, all through 2019 and 2020, she was saying it. So, if Trump acts in the same manner as Democrats with Trump Russia and Stacey Abrams saying she still won and all that stuff, then he's a despot and authoritarian. But if Democrats do it, well, it's justifiable. I mean, give me your thoughts below. The channel's finally moving back up. We're getting subs. We're going to hit 181 soon. Let's get to 200,000. Among the findings, companies donated at least $50 million to lawmakers who supported restrictions or integrity, whatever you want to, including $22 million in the 2020 campaign cycle. Oh my God. You had 2 Democrats getting $100 million each in 2 months. So, nearly half of all the Fortune 500 companies donated a combined total of $12.8 million to supporters of the restrictions. Are you kidding me? This is the investigative journalism that, like, you're getting hundreds of millions of dollars to Democrats. They broke fundraising records left and right. They're taking advantage of intelligence operatives, fabricating hoaxes, and saying Trump worked with Putin to buy Facebook ads. You have to be an imbecile to believe this stuff. And still it rakes in money. You don't think all of Hollywood is in the tank? How many people at the Associated Press or any publication are wearing Make America Great Again hats? How about none? How about if they ever walk into the cafeteria, they get fired immediately? Democrats shatter fundraising record ahead of Georgia Senate runoff. The 4 candidates combined to raise more than $340 million. And God forbid the $50 million from Trump. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.